Good morning. Here is the news at 10. First, the highlights. Lagos State Government opens participatory window for stakeholders on Lagos Island Model City Plan. President Tinubu advocates African Union, United Nations partnership to halt arms proliferation. On the foreign scene, Haiti gangs demand Prime Minister's resignation after mass jailbreak. And in sport, Falconets coach unveils squad ahead 2023 African Games in Ghana. Now the details. I am Dele Agadumo. The Lagos State Government will on Thursday, 7th March 2024, hold the final stakeholders engagement on the Lagos Island City Plan. Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, Oluyinka Olumide, said the stakeholders meeting has presented another opportunity for people's participation in the ongoing preparation of the planning document. Olumide said the proposed stakeholders meeting, which would be the final stage in the series of stakeholders' input into the evolving document, was aimed at developing an inclusive Lagos Island Model City Plan that would address the aspirations of all Lagosians. He added that since the inauguration of the technical committee in August 2021, the preparation of the plan had witnessed a bottom-up approach, including the initial engagement with benefiting communities and the public display of the final draft of the plan at 4 different centers across the plan area. Olumide explained that the goal of the Lagos Island Model City Plan is to harness the special characteristics of the area for the sustainable future growth and socio-economic development of Lagos as the preferred investment destination in sub-Saharan Africa. In a bid to curb and tackle the unscrupulous activities of land grabbers in the state, the Lagos State Government, through the Lagos State Special Task Force on Land Grabbers, has organized stakeholders meeting with the theme Safeguarding Possessory Rights in Lands, the role of Lagos State Special Task Force on Land Grabbers. The Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Lawal Pedro S.A.N., in his address at the event, noted that the rise in cases of land grabbing is an issue of great concern to the state government. Pedro said the purpose of organizing the stakeholders meeting is to foster open dialogue, share information, experiences, and collectively identify solutions to the problems inherent in the activities of land grabbers. While emphasizing that the law on land grabbing that was enacted in 2016 still stands, regardless of one's status in society, Pedro explained some of the provisions of the Lagos State Property Protection Law 2016, and in particular, Section 2, Subsection 1 of the law, which prohibits the use of force or self-help by anyone to take over any landed property or engaging in any act inconsistent with the propriety rights of the owner of any landed property in Lagos. The Nigerian Navy has set ablaze 4 illegal oil refining sites in Rivers, Bayelsa, and Ondo State. The Nigerian Navy, in a series of posts on its social media handles, said the clampdown on oil thieves in the Niger Delta was part of Operation Delta Sanity. The Navy said its ship Pathfinder discovered and deactivated a wooden boat conveying about 4,500 liters of illegally refined diesel along Bakama axis in Rivers State on Sunday. The Navy said its forward operation base for Moso discovered and destroyed an illegal refining site with a large oven of about 40,000 liters of suspected stolen crude oil at Brass River and Akansa General Area in Bayelsa State on the same day. It added that in Ondo State, forward operating base Igbokoda uncovered and deactivated an illegal refining site laden with pits, ovens and storage tanks of about 30,000 liters of crude oil at Ilaje local government area of the state, and the products were handled in accordance with extant directives. The Kaduna State Government has inaugurated a committee on resettling displaced communities in southern Kaduna affected by various incidences of insecurity. The State Deputy Governor, Hadiza Balarabe, who inaugurated the committee at the Government House, Kaduna, called on the members to leverage the expertise and resources available to them, both within the government and through partnerships with relevant stakeholders, including non-governmental organizations, community-based organizations, and humanitarian agencies. Balarabe, who chairs the committee, said she is aware of the significance of the task and responsibility towards citizens who have been displaced from their homes due to various challenges. She maintained that the plight of the displaced persons is heavy on their collective effort, revealing that the state government needed to take decisive action to address their needs and facilitate their resettlement. Now to the rest of the stories. President Bola Tinubu has called for a united front against the proliferation of arms and high and light weapons in Africa, expressing concern over the rising threat of terrorism, insurgency, and military intrusions in governments across Africa, particularly in West Africa. Tinubu urged the African Union and the United Nations to devise innovative strategies to halt the flow of arms and light weapons into the continent. The president, who was represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akome, stated this when he declared open a conference for dialogue in Abuja themed "The Africa We Want and the UN We Need." He acknowledged the severe socio-economic, environmental, and political challenges facing many African countries, making it difficult for them to achieve their development goals. The president reiterated his commitment to negotiating the peaceful return of democratic governance in ECOWAS member states affected by military interventions. The organized private sector has expressed concern about the spate of looting of trucks conveying food and raw materials by suspected hoodlums, warning that it can lead to a shutdown of industries across the country. Members of the OPS gave the warning in separate interviews just as miscreants attacked trucks conveying building materials and spaghetti in Ogun and Kaduna states. Several trucks and warehouses, mostly owned by manufacturers and other members of the OPS, have come under attacks from hoodlums as the food inflation and the cost of living crisis worsened across the country. Meanwhile, the federal government said it will start the distribution of free grains to states this week. Ongoing talks on the new national minimum wage will be taken to public for the contribution of professionals and other Nigerians, as zonal public hearings will be held across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country on Thursday. The hearings are scheduled to be held in Yola, Kano, Abuja, Uyo, Enugu, and Lagos. The Southwest Zonal Public Hearing, which will be held in Lagos, is to be chaired by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun. The current minimum wage is 30,000 naira, which went into effect in April 2019. Following an outcry from organized labor, the federal government in January inaugurated a 37-member tripartite committee on national minimum wage. The committee, made up of federal and state officials as well as private sector players, is tasked with the responsibility of recommending a new national minimum wage for Nigerian workers. Now to foreign news. Gang leaders in Haiti are demanding the resignation of Prime Minister Ariel Henry, whose whereabouts are unknown since he traveled to Kenya. Gang violence has plagued Haiti for years, taking control of around 80% of the capital, Port-au-Prince. A government statement said 2 prisons, one in Port-au-Prince and the other in nearby Croix de Bouquet, were stormed over the weekend. It said the acts of disobedience were a threat to national security and said it was instituting an immediate nighttime curfew in response, which started on Monday. Report says police stations were attacked, distracting authorities before the coordinated assault on the jails. Since the killing of President Jovenel Moïse in 2021, gang violence has further escalated and presidential elections have not been held since 2016. And now sports. Falconets head coach Chris Danjuma has picked goalkeeper Andeline Mbechi, defender and captain Oluchi Ohuegbelem, midfielder Aduyina, and forward Chamaka Okuchuku in his list of 20 players to represent Nigeria in the women's football event of the 13th African Games. Also named are goalkeeper Faith Omilano, defenders Shukurat Oladipo and Jumoke Alani, midfielders Chioma Olise and Olushola Sheboali, and forwards Blessing Okwe and Judith Oka. Nigeria is in Group B alongside Morocco, Senegal and Cameroon, while hosts Ghana will contend with Ethiopia, Tanzania and Uganda in Group A. Matches will take place at the Cape Coast Stadium. The Falconers won the gold medal in the women's football event of the 12th African Games that took place in Rabat, Morocco in October 2019. And that ends our news at 10. Just before we go, remember, speed thrills but kills. Please avoid excessive speed. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms. X, Traffic Radio 961. Instagram, Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Watch us live on Facebook, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. On YouTube, subscribe and watch all our previous programs and news on our channel, Traffic Radio 961. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu administration issued 54 workspace vouchers under the Workspace Voucher Program, which targets early-stage startups? You can get more details on the Lagos State Government website. To end the news, are the highlights of the major stories. The Lagos State Government will on Thursday, 7th March 2024, hold the final stakeholders engagement on the Lagos Island Model City Plan. President Bola Tinubu has called for a united front against the proliferation of arms and light weapons in Africa. We also told you that gang leaders in Haiti are demanding the resignation of Prime Minister Ariel Henry, whose whereabouts are unknown since he traveled to Kenya. And in sport, Falconers head coach Chris Danjuma has unveiled a list of 20 players to represent Nigeria in the women's football event of the 13th African Games. For contact with the newsroom, send a message to Lagos Traffic Radio at lagos.gov.ng. That ends the news broadcast compiled by Abiola Fagolagun. I am Dele Agadumo. Good morning. Thank you for listening.